Hello and welcome to this Functional Skills Maths Practice Paper 3 at Level 1. And we're going to show you how to answer these questions. We're going to start with Section A, which is the non-calculator section, where you have 25 minutes to complete the questions and there are 15 marks available. Question 1. You can buy tickets to a rock concert on a website. There are 130,000 tickets for sale. Write down in figures the number of tickets for sale. So we need to write down 130,000. So in figures, 130,000. Part B. Festival news. 115,400 tickets have been sold in the first hour. How many tickets are still for sale after the first hour? You must show you're working out. So it wants us to subtract this number from our original number. So we had 130,000 and we've sold 115,400. So 0 from 0 is 0, 0 from 0 is 0. 4 from 0 doesn't go and we need to borrow one. We can't borrow one from the next one along, so we need to go along. So this becomes a 9 and this becomes a 10. 4 from 10 is 6, 5 from 9 is 4, 1 from 2 is 1, and 1 from 1 is 0. So the number of tickets left for sale after the first hour is 14,600. Don't forget to write this on the answer line. Question 2. What is 3/5 as a decimal? We tell you in the class to remember that 1/5 is 0.2. It's one of those fractions and decimals you can remember the relationship. And if you have 3 of them, we multiply 0.2 by 3 to get 0.6. So 0.6 is the answer. If you can't remember this, we need to divide 3 by 5. That's what 3/5 means. So 5 doesn't divide into 3, and because it's the end of the whole number, we need to put in our decimal place and carry the 3. Use an invisible 0, and 5 goes into 30 6 times. So you get the same answer whichever way you do it. Calculate 13 squared. So the first thing is you need to remember what 13 squared means. And it means in maths 13 times 13. And you might not remember your 13 times tables, so we need to multiply them. And we'll use the box method to do this. So 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 3 is 30, 3 times 10 is 30, and 3 times 3 is 9. Add the columns up, and then add the two numbers together. So 13 squared is 169. Question 4. Work out 50 subtract 8 times 2. So you need to remember BIDMAS. There are no brackets and there are no indices, so division and multiplication come first. So we've got a multiplication, so it becomes 50 minus 8 times 2, which is 16. And 50, take away 16, is 34. So our answer for 1 mark is 34. Question 5. Work out minus 16 minus 15. Now if you're at all confused, just sketch your number line. So we're starting at the number minus 16 and we're subtracting another 15. So we're going further in this direction by 15, so we end up at minus 31. So the answer for 1 mark is minus 31. Question 6. Work out 5.23 plus 7.59. So they want us to add two decimals. 5.23, 7.59. So we line them up. 9 plus 3 is 12. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus the one we carried over is 8. 7 plus 5 is 12. So 12.82 for 1 mark. Question 7. work out the volume of this cube. So we need to multiply the 3 dimensions, and the fact that it's a cube means that each of the 3 dimensions are all the same. So we need to multiply 5 by 5 by 5. Now you can break this into parts. You can multiply 5 by 5 to get 25, and then we need to multiply 25 by 5. You might not be able to do this in your head, so just do your box method. 5 2s are 10 plus the 0 we ignored. 5 5s are 25. Add the two numbers together and we get 125. Now it's volume, so don't forget your units are going to be cubed. So it's 125 centimeters cubed. Question 8. Round the number 21.537 correct to 2 decimal places. So 2 decimal places means we're interested in the second decimal place. We stick or twist depending on the next number along. In this case, it's the number 7, so we go up. So it becomes 21.54. Question 9. Rashid works at an aquarium. The aquarium sells tickets for 49 weeks of the year. A student ticket costs £9.90. The Animal Centre sold 23 student tickets last week. Estimate the income from the sales of student tickets for the whole year. So the word estimate means we're going to round the numbers to make the maths as easily as possible. So we'll call it 50 weeks, we'll call it £10, and we'll call it 20 students. So using our estimated numbers, we have 20 students a week at £10 per student gives us £200 for the week. And then we've rounded the number of weeks to 50. So 2 times 5 is 10 plus the 3 zeros we ignored. So the estimated income is £10,000. Question 10. Karina makes sandwiches. For every 1 tuna sandwich, she makes 4 egg sandwiches. She makes 400 sandwiches in total. How many sandwiches are tuna? So this is a ratios question with a total. So we have tuna and egg in the ratio of 1 tuna sandwich for every 4 egg sandwiches. Because it's a totals question, the 400 is a total and it lives over here. And we need to use the total number of our parts, which are 5. So 400 divided by 5 will give us our scale. 5 into 400. 5 doesn't go into 4, carry the 4. 5 goes into 40, 8 times, and 5 doesn't go into 0. So 400 divided by 5 gives us a scale of 80. Go back to your ratio and multiply each side by 80. How many tuna sandwiches does she make? Well, using our ratio method, we can see that she makes 80 tuna sandwiches. Question 11. What is 40% of £500? So it's the non-calculator paper, so we use the 10% rule. So 10% of 500 is 50. So if we want 40%, we've multiplied that by 4. We need to multiply 50 by 4, which is £200. So for our 1 mark, tick £200 as the correct answer. Question 12. Write these numbers in ascending order, which means the smallest number first. So start from the left, where you've got hundreds of thousands. So we've got 200, 300, 200, and 300. So it's going to be one of these two. Then look at the next digits along and compare them. And then the smallest one is the 232,450. Then it's going to be the 232,500. Then compare the bigger numbers. and the smaller number is this one. So we have 320,450, and the biggest number is 323,540, and that's for 1 mark. Question 13. Amy buys a scarf in the shop. The scarf costs £25. Amy has a voucher for 20% off. How much will she get off the price of the scarf? So again, we have a percentage question in the non-calculator exam, so we use our 10% rule. So 10% is £2.50. So 20%, which is what we're looking for over here, is 2 lots of 10%. So we need to multiply £2.50 by 2, and we end up with £5. So how much money will she get off the price of the scarf? She will get £5 off. That will be the discount. Question 14. Which one of these fractions is the biggest number? So we've got various fractions here, and we need to be able to compare them. Now, some fractions we're aware of. We know that 3/5 is 0.6. We know a third is 0.3 recurring, and we know 3/4 is 0.75. And we know 5/10 is a half, which is 0.5. So by quickly looking at them, we can turn them into decimals because they're all fractions we should be aware of. And now we need to find the biggest number that we've got, which is 3/4. So tick D for 1 mark. And that is the end of section A, and it's out of 15 marks. Section B. You're allowed to use your calculator in this section, and you have 1 hour and 20 minutes, and there are 45 marks available. Question 1. Ryan is driving his car in Spain. The speedometer in the car shows his speed in miles per hour only. He is driving on a road with a speed limit of 100 kilometers per hour. Ryan uses this rule to find his speed in miles per hour. Take the number of kilometers per hour, divide by 8, multiply it by 5, and this will give him his miles per hour. Ryan thinks that 70 miles an hour is the same as 100 kilometers an hour. So is Ryan correct? So we need to put in kilometers an hour here. So if we put our 100 kilometers in here, it will tell us what the miles an hour is here. And we can use our calculator. So 100 divided by 8 gives us 12.5. And then we need to multiply it by 5 to give us 62.5. So 100 kilometers an hour is 62.5 miles per hour. So is Ryan correct? No, he is incorrect. And the evidence for this is our working out up here. And you should get 3 marks for no, he is incorrect, and the working out. Question 2. Naomi wants to buy 40 litres of blue paint. She sees this special offer. 10 litre tin, usually at £29, there's a 15% discount. Naomi uses this special offer and she has a budget of £100 for the paint. Does Naomi have enough to buy the 40 litres of blue paint? So to buy 40 litres at the usual price, she would need 4 tins of paint to give her the 40 litres. So 4 tins of paint with a usual price of £29, using my calculator, is £116. Now, there's a 15% discount, so we need to apply the discount. Now, it's the calculator exam, so it's 15% of the £116. Put this into your calculator, and it tells us the discount is £17.40. So, to work out the final price for the paint, it's £116, which is the standard price. Take away the discount, and that gives us 98.6 on our calculator, which in money terms is £98.60. So does Naomi have enough money to buy 40 litres of blue paint? Yes, she does. And that is with the discount. And the evidence for this is your working out. Question 3 is asking us to work out the volume of a cuboid. So you need to remember, to work out the volume of a cuboid, you multiply the 3 dimensions. So 5.6 times 4.3 times 3.25. Simply put this in your calculator and it gives us an answer of 78.26. Now when you write your answer on the answer line, don't forget the units are centimetres, and because it's volume and we use 3 dimensions, it's cubed. So 78.26 centimetres cubed. Question 4. Charlie is designing a badge and the badge needs to be in the shape of a trapezium. So a trapezium, sketched really quickly, looks like this. And then it must have a base of 6 centimetres and have only one line of symmetry. So with a trapezium, the line of symmetry goes down the centre. So we need to make sure this side and this side are the same length when we draw it. Use the grid below to draw a suitable badge, and remember that 1 square is 1 centimetre. So the best place to start is draw our base of our badge. So we've drawn our base here, and it is a base of 6 centimetres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares long. Now we said that we have to make the sides at each side the same length, so whatever we draw at the top has to be an even number so we can divide it by 2 easily. So we can either have 4 squares or we can have 2 squares. It doesn't really matter. So let's go for 4 starting here. So here we go. We've drawn a line here of 4 centimetres. And what this means is when we connect the ends here, they will be the same length. So here you can see each of the sides goes 1 out and 3 up, 1 out and 3 up. So there is a line of symmetry on our badge. So this is our badge. And if we want to show the line of symmetry, we can show that as well. So we've shown our line of symmetry here with a little dashed green line. So there's only one line of symmetry for our trapezium. And that's 3 marks for our trapezium shaped badge with 1 line of symmetry. Question 5. Leo wants to cover his wall with yellow paint. Here's a plan of the wall with the various measurements. He will buy yellow paint in 2.5 litre tins. Each tin of yellow paint covers 8 meters square. How many tins of paint does he need to buy? So we need to work out the area of the wall, and we can do this by dividing the wall up into smaller rectangles. So if we put a dividing line down there, we have this area here, which is 6.1 meters by 3.6 meters. So do this in your calculator, which is 21.96 meters squared for that bit of the wall. And then we need to do this little area here, which is 1.6 meters by, and then if the whole wall is 7, and this goes up to here is 6.1, then it's 0.9 of a meter. So 1.6 times 0.9 gives you 1.44 meters squared for that piece. So the total area of the wall that he needs to paint is 21.96, and then we need to add the 1.44 for that little bit above the door. So that gives us 23.4 meters squared that he needs to cover. So we have our area of our wall, which is 23.4 meters squared, and we need to divide it by the amount one tin covers to tell us how many tins we need. And our calculator shows us 2.925. So we need to round this up to 3 tins of paint to make sure we've got enough. If we round it down, we won't have enough to paint the wall. So for 5 marks, on the answer line you write 3 tins, and all the evidence for the conclusion of 3 tins is you're working out up here. So the calculation of the 2 areas will have 2 or 3 marks associated with it, and then the total area divided by how much one tin covers to tell us how many tins we need, and then using common sense to round up. So that's a 5-mark question. Question 6. Jake works in a shop. He has this information about 72 items sold last week. So the number of items sold is 72. Jake starts to display this information in a pie chart. Complete the pie chart for Jake. So let's start by completing the table of the angles before we plot them on the pie chart. Now, don't forget, it's whatever we're putting into the pie is you're putting it into 360. So the scale that tells us what we multiply each of these by is 360 divided by 72. So it's telling us that each thing is worth 5 degrees. So as a check, 15 times 5 gave us our 75 degrees as the angle that we plot here for a tablet. Let's do the same for phone and laptop. So 44 times our scale of 5 degrees gives us 220 degrees for the phone. And finally, the 13 times 5 gives us 65 degrees for the laptop. So we can now go to our pie chart and plot the phone and the laptop. So using this as our 0 line, get your protractor and measure round. And I would do the 65 degrees for the laptop first. So from here, measure round 65 degrees and label that as laptop. And then it saves you measuring the 220 degrees for the phone because it's whatever is left. And that's your pie chart of your various items that have been sold. So the tablet was already given to you at 75 degrees. We then plotted the laptop because it was easier to plot the 65 degrees. And then we finished off with the phone at 220 degrees. And that question was worth 3 marks. Question 7. Martin is planning a team building event for a group of people. Martin has this part of a map. The diagram has been drawn accurately. The key is 1 centimetre on the map is 1,000 metres on the ground. So our strap line is the map, which is centimetres, so 1 centimetres, and the real world, which is metres, and there's 1,000 of those. The group starts at point A and walk directly to point B. Martin needs to write instructions to give to the group. The instructions need to include the bearing and the distance walked. So we're walking from A to B, so we would draw a straight line between the two. Now for the bearing, you would take your protractor and measure it round. Now when I measure this bearing, I get roughly 110 degrees. So your answer, you'll probably be allowed between 105 and 115 degrees for the bearing on how to get from A to B. So for the distance to be walked, we need to measure it with our ruler, and I've got my ruler and I've got roughly 7.4 centimeters. So we need to use our strap line for our scale, where I put 7.4 on this side. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So I've multiplied this by 7.4. I multiply this by 7.4 and I get 7,400 meters. So in order to get the 4 marks, we need to write down the instructions for the group. So from point A, take a bearing of 110 degrees and walk for 7,400 meters. And if you wanted to, you could put it in kilometers. So from meters to kilometers, divide by 1,000. And that question is worth 4 marks. Part B. Martin records the time it took each person to complete a different event. He is completing a table with the information. So we have the mean, the range, the longest and the shortest times. So the mean time is 39, the range is 26, and the longest time is 53 minutes. So to get the shortest time, you take the longest time and take away the 26, which is the range, to give us the bottom end of our range. So we're going 26 to the left. We're taking away 26 from 53. So our shortest time is 27, and that's worth 2 marks. As a check, you can do 53 minus 27, and it should give you your range of 26. Question 8. The table shows the price of a cup of tea in 5 different cafes. Calculate the mean price of a cup of tea. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cafes, and what you need to do is work out the sum of the prices. So rather than rewriting them all out, just write the word sum and add these numbers together. And you get £8.55 as the total. The mean is the £8.55 divided by the 5 cafes, and our calculator says 1.71. So £1.71 is the mean price for a cup of tea. Here is a cube of side length 3 centimeters. So each of the 3 dimensions are 3 centimeters. Draw a net of the cube and use the grid below to draw your net. So the way to draw a net is unfold it down the center, starting with the face that's facing you, then the top, then repeat for the back and the bottom, and finally draw on the sides. So let's do that. Now, looking at the grid they've given us, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squares in that direction. And we need at least 12 when we unfold the front, top, middle, and back. So we're going to do this from left to right. So the front of our cube is 3 by 3. So go back to our cube. The front is 3 by 3. And it's attached to the top, again, along this edge, which is 3 by 3. So the top is 3 by 3 and attaches to the front. The back attaches to the top, and then the bottom is the same dimensions as the top. Finally, we have the 2 sides to put on, and the sides are 3 by 3 as well, so we can attach them anywhere. So we can put the left hand side there and the right hand side here. Now, of course, you do that with a ruler, and much neater than I have. I've done it for speed just to show you how you do it. So we've unfolded our cube down the center, so the front, top, back and bottom, and then we've attached the right hand side and the left hand side somewhere on our cube. And this net of a cube is worth 3 marks. Sean works in a beauty salon. He has 3 appointments today. The time needed for each appointment is Mrs. Mills is 1.5 hours, Miss Colts is 1 hour 20 minutes, and Beth is 3¼ hours. He'll have a 45-minute break, and he starts at 9:15. He wants to finish by 4:30. Will he finish by 4:30? So this is a time question where we can step through time. We've got a mixture of fractions of hours and minutes, so we'll do it in minutes. So he starts at 9:15. Now the easiest thing to add is the 45-minute break. So let's add 45 minutes and make it 10 o'clock. Now let's start adding each of our customers. So Mrs. Mills is 1 hour and a half. So if we add 1½ hours, it takes us to 11:30. Then we add 1 hour and 20 minutes for Miss Colts, so we'll end up at 12:50. And then we have Beth, so let's add the 3 hours for Beth first, which is 15:50, and then we need to add the 15 minutes for Beth, which is 16:05. So, will Sean finish work by 4:30? Yes, he will. If you want to, you can actually work out the amount early that he'll finish. Yes, he will finish 25 minutes before 16:30. And that's 4 marks for this question. Question 11. Oliver is organising a show. Visitors to the show choose their seats at random. There are 350 seats available, and the seats are numbered from 1 to 350. Oliver places a prize under each of the seats numbered 17 to 25. What's the probability that the first visitor chooses a seat with a prize? So, how many have got prizes? So the number from 17 to 25 is 9. So there are 9 prizes available. So the probability of somebody winning is 9 over 350, which when you stick it in your calculator is 9 over 350. Just double check it doesn't simplify on your calculator. Question 12. Heather works at a garage. Mr. Bakir brings in his car for a service, and he also buys 2 tyres and a battery. Here is the list of the costs. The service is £120, a tyre is £52.99 each, and a battery is £79. Holly also has to charge 20% VAT on the cost to work out the total bill for Mr. Bakir. Work out the total bill. So let's add up everything Mr. Bakir has purchased. So it's £120 for the service. There are 2 tyres at £52.99 and a battery at £79. So his total cost is £304.98. Holly has to add 20% VAT. So it's 20% of the total amount that she needs to work out. So put this in your calculator and I'll show you how. It's 20 shift percent of the £304.98. Press equals, press the SD button, and it gives you the amount that the 20% makes, which is 60.996. Now, because it's money, we need to round to 2 decimal places. And if we round this up, the 60.99 becomes rounded to £61. So that's the VAT. So the total bill is £304.98 plus the £61 VAT, which is £365.98. So on your answer line, £365.98 would be the total bill. And that's worth 4 marks. Part B is asking us to use approximation to check our answer. So if we took the service as £100, £50 for each tyre, and £100 for the battery, we would end up with £300 approximately. 20% of £300, well, we know 10% is 30, so 20% would be £60. So we would expect the bill approximately to be £360, which is pretty much what it is. So to use approximation, round the numbers of each of the services and items that he buys, and then work out 20% of that amount, add them together to work out your approximate value of £360. And that's the end of section B, and that's worth 45 marks in total. If you have any questions on this video, please don't hesitate to ask your tutor. I hope this video has been of some use.